GPS Dairy Consulting presents Ahead of the Herd, a GPS DairyCAST presentation. Hosted by King Hickman and Paul Dyke, with Peggy Coffeen of the Up-Level Dairy Podcast. Sponsored by Alltech, working together for a planet of plenty.
At Alltech, we believe agriculture has the greatest potential to shape the future of our planet. Every cow, every herd, and every farm plays a vital role in nourishing people and sustaining the land we all depend on. As a family-owned company, we share the same values that guide dairy producers: caring for animals, being good stewards of the land, and building a legacy for the next generation. As a worldwide leader in agriculture, Alltech provides solutions from the ground up, backed by science, and meeting your local needs with our global expertise. Together, we can provide nutrition for all, revitalize local economies, and replenish the planet's natural resources. Dairy is more than milk. It's community, stewardship, and a brighter future. Alltech, working together for a planet of plenty.
Welcome to Ahead of the Herd, the GPS DairyCAST special production, where big ideas meet practical on-farm solutions, and we have a little bit of fun along the way. I'm Peggy Coffeen from the Up-Level Dairy Podcast, excited to bring you today's episode where we're talking about technology, but not just shiny new gadgets. We're talking about making your numbers work for you, because when it comes to dairy, success is in the details. Feed intake, milk weights, labor hours, and health events, and more. Our special guest today is Manuel Soares from the Milk Group, who helps farms every day make sense of data and put it to work. And as always, you'll hear our usual banter, a fun moostery guest, and answer your questions in the listener mailbag. So grab your notebook, hop in the skid steer, or pour yourself a hot cup of coffee, and let's get ahead of the herd together with our hosts from the GPS Dairy Consulting team, King and Paul. Take it away.
Welcome back to Ahead of the Herd, the GPS DairyCAST, where dairy wisdom meets barn floor reality. And even spreadsheets don't scare us. I'm Paul Dyke.
And I'm King Hickman. You know, Paul, you ever notice whenever you say data-driven decisions on a farm, half the group gets excited, the other half leaves the room,
Yeah,
right?
they do. Numbers aren't always glamorous for everybody, but they're powerful.
True. And today we're going to be talking about turning data into decisions, because it's one thing to collect the numbers, right? But it's another to actually use them to make powerful decisions and to keep the cows healthier.
You know, it's not just about milk weights, feed intake, cow sensors, financials, activity monitors, you name it. It's how to pull all of those together without going cross-eyed.
That's right. And we've got a guest who's right in the middle of helping dairies do just that. So, Paul, when you talk to clients about being data-driven, what does that mean in real terms?
You know, it's getting past the idea of gut feel, like, hey, I think my cows are up on milk, or maybe we have more health problems. It's really trying to have numbers to back up those choices. It's not replacing experience. It's just about making that your decision sharper with real information that you trust.
Right. You tell clients we're not here to drown in data. We're just here to make better decisions, right?
You know, I think part of that is just making sure that the data is accurate. It's trustworthy. The old saying goes, garbage in, garbage out. It's true as it's always been, except there's a lot more data going in, right? There's a lot more going in.
And in the end, we talked about this every episode. It comes down to communication, right?
Right.
Communication across the whole team. If it's going to work, we got to get that data delivered correctly from everyone on the team. So it's making sure that everybody's on the same page.
For a lot of producers, it can be overwhelming. There's so much data, and it's just trying to, you can't tackle it all at once. It's trying to take pieces of it and tackling one piece at a time.
And that's what this episode's about, right? Making data work for you, not against you.
Yeah, joining us today is Manuel Soares from the Milk Group, someone who's spent a lot of time helping dairies make better decisions with better data.
Let's welcome Manuel.
Hey, thank you. Welcome.
Good to see you.
Thanks for coming.
Welcome to the studio in Sheldon, Iowa. Good to have you here.
Yes, welcome to Sheldon.
It's an honor.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah.
For us.
Appreciate
For
it.
us, of course.
How many times have you been to Sheldon?
Once. Today.
Today. Good.
Spent a week there one day. Manuel, let's start with the big picture. Why is being data driven so critical in the dairy industry today?
Well, it's regardless of the dairy industry, right? For all businesses,
Sure.
It's really, really important to understand and support those decisions you make because they have a pretty big fallout on what happens. And I think, too often we make decisions based on gut or impression, and some of these decisions are quite important and can have a big effect on your bottom line, right, or your overall expense. So it's going to become more and more important as we see the markets change and that kind of stuff, and margins are lower, longer, and making decisions can be pretty catastrophic. So having that support and making the right decisions.
So we've talked a couple of the other episodes on resiliency and sustainability. This is part of being resilient, right?
Absolutely.
Having the data so that when you need it, it's there.
Yeah, all companies go through downturns, whether it's economy or it's your products
Right.
or whatever. And quite often the differentiator is those who leverage the information. We call it data, but it's really information,
Yep.
knowledge, that helps us make smarter decisions and not always depend on gut.
Got it.
When I hear you speaking, I hear you saying big data, and I've got some farms that might think we're not big enough to utilize big data. How do you address that? Do you think there's a farm size dependency here?
No. If you're a company, matter of fact, in some cases, the small farm have a bigger need for data because the failure is a bigger impact to that model, right? So if you think about a single animal that we fail, because normally it's the human that fails the cow,
Right.
the impact to that business is much higher on a small farm versus a large farm. Also, we all need to kind of control processes, and technology quite often helps you do that.
So right now, as you look at what you're working on, the things with the direction you're going, and what areas of data do you see currently that are underutilized on the dairy? And maybe that list is too long to list.
It's pretty long. Yeah. A lot of it is been created by the tech companies in our industry. It's been very separated data, right? So it's not that we don't get enough data. It's just hard to consume because they're very disconnected data points or information. And so that makes it difficult. And I think quite often we look at a piece of the dairy and not look at the whole and how that piece affects the whole. And because sometimes we're band-aiding a problem that's upstream and we can't see it because we're looking at different products.
Give me an example where somebody improved their processes or their dairy with better data utilization. You have a specific example in mind in your head?
Well, my 35 years in tech dairy.
Yeah, I only want one. I can't go 35 years here, okay? Try to narrow it down. I said just one.
Some more maybe recent, right? I mean, in feed management, for example, and a very small percentage of the market really has feed management. But you have your largest expense,
Yep.
and so few really use the tools that they have, or they don't have a tool, right? And that is where we see quite a bit of payback pretty quickly because they start to understand it's the efficiency of following the formulation that the nutritionist has given them, right? Rather than just feeding them to make them full, right? So, and it has a big impact to how much waste that you push out. And, quite often you look at probably a month and a half in a lot of cases, depending on size, obviously. The payback's pretty fast. But you look at a lot of different things from, reproduction, really improving reproduction and using, we've had dairies, another example is put in our pulsation sensor and find out that the whole system was broken and they didn't know that.
Yeah.
So they were getting water into the vacuum system. They were having failures in pulsation units to the point where the labor just stopped even thinking about it. And so they were having mastitis cases, and so there's a lot of different stories like that I could probably sit here for hours and go through,
Right.
but it's big.
I think one of the challenges I've always seen is just turning the numbers into action. And you're working with several different software systems right now, and all of them in the end are action oriented, right? But how do you do that? How do you design that so that the numbers do become actionable?
Well, we try to, working with professionals in the industry that do consulting, we try to make sure that those things that you're connecting to your client, they're there without having to go do analyzation or research, right? That's one. The other is that, if you can bench against yourself, because the truth is, benchmarks against others doesn't work, right? Because the status of the herd, the facility, the labor, everything's different. I've managed 5 dairies. I couldn't manage them the same. You always have to know the audience, as they say, right?
Yeah.
But it's really looking at where am I, where's my goal, and then through software, it helps you make sure you're hitting those thresholds that you want. And when you don't, you can look backwards to see where did I fail, right? So technology in and of itself is just a thing typically, but software is where the numbers start to help you understand where I've been and where I want to go and how to get there.
So treat it like a journey.
Absolutely.
And it's the benchmarks.
Absolutely.
To get there.
Whether you're building software or milking cows, it's really the same thing, right? We're measuring, how often or how fast we build through software. We're looking at the stories that we post and how fast do we get through them, and then the testing cycle. Did we find a lot of bugs? If we did, then we go back to the source and say, okay, is something that's happening. If we waited until it was in the customer's hands, now we've got pain, right? And think of it as a dairy. If I drop in production, it's a slow process to get them back. Much different for me. I can move quicker because I fix the problem and it's quickly resolved. But so I think measurement is really, really important, and working with your consultant, because if you don't understand how the things are tied, that's where your help's at.
Right.
Once in a while, I get a little pushback from a few producers and say, well, that technology does cost a lot. There's monthly subscriptions, can I afford to adopt this new technology, this new software? It's a monthly subscription, or activity monitors, they're going to subscription charge. How do you tackle that, or how do you approach that?
Well, I grew up in the dairy, managed dairies. I understand that we get very driven by cost. And the problem is that cost creates the lack of movement, because it takes investments in certain areas, whether it be better cows, better employees, better technology, better systems, and it takes investment. The truth is that you have to look at whatever I'm employing in the business, does it have a return, right? Whether I put in sensors, whether I put in a flow meter and I want to look at production, if I want to look at, how much feed is being used, I want to manage inventory, which is an asset, right? You want to make sure that the inventory is secure and you understand where you're at, and contracts and that kind of stuff. So, the return is high in most of these things. You just have to do a little homework with your consultant to say, how do we see the benefit of adding this technology? And sometimes it just isn't something measurable, right? If I have healthy cows, it's hard to measure that. If I have more production, I can measure that. But other things lead up to more production, and healthier cows is the other things that you have to do.
Right. And don't you think that's a little bit how you get employee buy-in when you start doing this? They're the ones that see the they're the ones that see the healthier cows. They may not know exactly what they're doing, but if they can see the result from it. But how else do you get buy-in? Because they're entering a lot of the data. They need to make sure it's right.
I think we make a big mistake in our industry, and some of it is been kind of taught to us by some of the technologies that we've taken on. In my company, and this is no different for a dairy producer, is that you really need to take those tools and broaden them across the whole company, right? So that's the reason we don't charge for our apps, because we want your biggest asset's your employee.
Right.
You have more eyes if you could depend on them and if they can record what they see. So having everybody taught and then leverage them, right? If I'm a framer, I don't have one hammer and one guy who nails the nails. You want as many of those, right, to build the house as quick as possible. But you train them and then you leverage them. And I think once you do that, now they get to take advantage of that value because they see that they're now important. I get to participate in creating a better business that I'm a part of. The other thing is that you have to do in all technologies is make someone responsible, or what we call own it, right? So if I'm going to give out hammers, King, you're now responsible. We get all the hammers back, that they know how to use the hammers, and if there is a hammer that breaks, we get it fixed. But someone on the team has to own that technology. Or you're waiting for the supplier of whatever to be your manager, which never works.
Can't be, yeah.
Yeah, let's dig into that just a little bit deeper. I know your new herd management software, Animal, is it's an interesting approach in that you're not just managing cows or not managing numbers. It's really about managing employee tasks in some ways. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's a unique approach I haven't seen maybe in some other avenues or other software.
It somewhat comes from my own failures as a dairy manager.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you write these lists and you make sure somebody goes out and does them, and I'm busy doing something else, and then I missed it, or I was late getting it to them, or it gets full of manure and water, and I can't read them afterwards. Right. So, it was to somewhat, Paul, solve that problem.
Yeah.
But it is, important for us to understand that and one of the things that we take into consideration in all of our products that we build, they have to be very simple. They can be powerful, yet make sense on how to use them, right? It's like an iPhone versus a BlackBerry, right? To make the analogy.
Right.
Is that, sometimes what happens is that they get disconnected, not just from the technology, but from their job and what you're trying to achieve as a goal, simply because I'm not included.
Right.
Right? And you have all these eyes, all these brains, leverage them. If I can send a message through the app, so our Animal, as you question, was I can find some cows that I want, send it to someone specific or a couple of people and say, I want these animals moved. I want these animals treated. I want to know if these animals have IDs. I want to send them to beef, whatever the case. Now I can task manage from anywhere, right? It's not in your office because we're not PC-based. We're completely cloud-based. And what that does, again, it leverages that asset called an employee, right? And so if we have trained, qualified people out there, I've broadened the workload instead of it being on the top of two people or whatever.
King and I talk about, data, but it's not just about data. It's taking care of cows. In your Animal is about, workflow and job assignments. But what I find it really encouraging is that, when we assign, cows, it has a disease, and then there has to have an outcome, and there has to be, a treatment and an outcome, and it has to be resolved. This cow is being taken care of better than she was before. And it's about employees getting the job done with the employees, but it's also about taking care of those animals.
Absolutely. It's I would say first focus is cow, second focus is people.
Yep.
it's interesting because, in my tenure in technology, in the old days, I used to do support when I first started. And the people that I would call and talk to and try to help them understood their dairy, understood cows. Today, they understand technology. They don't really know cows. So what we've been trying to build is for the future and today and the future's employee,
Right.
not the ones of the past, because
Right.
they just don't, they're task-driven employees. They're going to go do what they've been taught, that one thing, but they don't understand the ripple to that.
Right. I think you said something big there when you said trained employees that know how to do it. I once can't remember how it came up, but I talked about you keep calling the people our assets, right? And I always say if people are our greatest asset, why do we keep treating them like liabilities?
Well, I don't get it either.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange. If you think about your dairy and you say, production, reproduction, health of the animal is key, guess who makes those things happen?
Right.
It's your employees. If you don't invest in your employees, that doesn't happen. So the better your team is, I say this all the
Right.
time, every company, it's not their products that they produce, it's not the things they sell, it's the people that do it, right? If you hire and treat those as assets, train them, give them the tools, you'll succeed. If you don't, you will not.
Having good software doesn't solve everything, does it?
Technology is not the answer to not first focusing on your team, making sure you understand what you want as an outcome. Just simply putting, it's no different than if I go out and buy a tractor and a disc and I didn't even think about where I'm going to use it. Do I even have a field, right? It's a little bit cart before horse sometimes. But there are many steps that you can take that have pretty quick return with very little input, or for example, feed management, right? It's such a big expense on a dairy. If you can just start recording it, working with your consultant, you can start to manage inventories and contracts and waste, right? And so there's some simple things that doesn't take a lot because you still feed. It's just, feeding a little bit different, but it's really not that much different than looking at a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So obviously your company's looking way out.
Yep.
You're looking out for the big wave coming, right? You're not looking towards shore.
Nope.
And you're going to catch that wave. What do you see that wave being in the next 5-10 years? What are the expectations for data and
Well, some things that we're doing today, we've built our own ID system, and people are kind of like, well, why? There's ID systems out there. The problem is that if I manage a dairy and cows come through the barn, whether I have sort gates or not, if I miss anyone, that animal likely is not going to get treated, not going to get whatever task was needed for that animal, right? Because one, you've got to send the humans out there to go find her, get her locked up and treat her. So we want 100% accuracy on the ID, and we've achieved that. We're installing our first dairy now. We've been running tests, quite a bit of tests, and they've been 100% all, but we're going to say 99 plus because there's some cases where maybe it doesn't grab them, but that's important because every missed step is a loss opportunity in business, and with margins, that flutter around where it's a little tough to make money. It could make the difference, right? If I hit everything that I'm supposed to hit on target, the outcome is fantastic. If I miss even 2%, 3%, 4%, it could be devastating, especially when those margins are tight.
Right.
We talked a lot, other episodes and talking about sustainability, carbon credits, and all these terms that are difficult. How does your data fit into that in terms of, going forward through the future?
Some of it, we've been doing some work with some people that are trying to measure that. I don't think the industry understands yet what all that means. I think it's been one of those buzzwords like, sustainability is one of those things, I don't know what you do with that, right? Carbon footprint, well, you're not going to go to negative because It just can't, right? Unless you get rid of cows, right? So, but when you look at the products that we have through facility management, animal, which is herd management, feed, those all are participants in measuring that outcome, right? So you can look at products that you feed and measure the use of that to say, I am improving my carbon footprint because I'm using these commodities, and then to look at what was the outcome to that change, right? Did I lose production? Did I get, or maybe she's healthier, so she makes more milk, or her repro goes up, or her repro goes down, and so now you can measure that as well.
So if someone's listening and wants to get started tomorrow, really get serious about, their data, and what steps do they take? It's such a big topic. How do they get rolling? How do they put forward a strategic plan?
Probably like me. I look at all my pain points.
Yep.
I look at where, I work with my team to see where we're failing the most, and find out if those have the biggest returns if I improve it, and then go apply whatever technology, or maybe it is just new SOPs or new operative procedures that would improve that, and then put software on top so that I can measure the outcome. So working with your consultant will help. If you see sometimes we're just too close. I don't see how fast my grandkids are growing when I'm there for the week, and I leave for 3 weeks, and I go back and I see all the advancements they're making. You're going, wow, right? Yeah. Well, that's us on a dairy. We're too close to it.
Yeah, sometimes I use the analogy, we need to ask the question before we look for an answer, right? So I think just trying to understand, what are we trying to solve, and rather than buying the software and saying, okay, now we'll solve something.
Yeah, the old saying, right? I got a hammer, I'm looking for a nail.
Yep.
Find the nails first. And it's on a dairy, it's actually quite easy. The hardest part for dairy compared to other things is that you're dealing with a live animal that is influenced by weather, what they eat, the human. There's so many variables, and putting in technology that helps you understand those effects, right? Start looking at cause and effect. It's pretty significant on the outcome of a dairy.
What's coming down the pike from the milk group? Anything new, or you're still trying to launch is it Animal? Is it called?
Animal?
Animal?
Yeah, I don't have much of imagination, so it's called feed, animal, facility,
it makes
people.
it easy,
right?
Scale, you got scale.
Yeah. Yes, yep.
And they all integrate together.
They absolutely do. What we're really building is a full ecosystem with integrated data, so that the point that I made earlier, it's hard for dairy producers to understand what's happening because everything's so disjointed. Right?
Yes.
And so bringing it all together, and when something happens and what it's connected to is automatic. Now when I look at something, if it was weather or whatever, I can see the impact and not make some assumptions. We're doing a lot on the animal side and using some things, for example, with the ID system, because one of the problems on dairies is doing the hospital, for example.
Okay.
And if I can ID every animal as they walk into the barn, and the app puts them in order, stall, cow, and what you're going to do to them, now, even if I don't have sort gates, I can actually do the treatment in the barn without ever having to lock them up. Or I've got a curiosity, hey, why does this animal look like this? I could pull up her cow record and see what's going on. So it gives me a lot more power in the barn.
Right.
And then one of the other things that we're working on that will be released in the beginning of the year, January, is basically our command line on steroids. So it'll be pretty fun.
More power.
A lot more power. And
More power.
the difference is they speak in their natural language, whatever language you speak, and it's all converted automatically and pulls up what you ask for and do what you want to do.
Smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts? We appreciate you having here. Any thoughts staying for producers, staying competitive with data? Any big insights that we were missing?
I think it's really important whether you're a dairy producer or not. I wake up every day thinking, what can I fix or improve, right? And it's as soon as we get relaxed, I've said this before, we set a goal, and as soon as we hit it, the goal goes again.
Right.
Hit the goal, goes again, right? And if you're not pushing to be better every single day, there's no magic number, right? You can't say, well, I've heard that this was a magic number. As soon as I get to that, I can relax. In business, you don't ever, right? Because if I can get more from less, I'm making more money, which allows me to support me through some downturn or whatever else, right? So I think it is keep your eye on your whole business, leverage your asset called a human, because that is the asset that isn't being used very well today, I think, and never get satisfied, ever. Never.
Well, awesome. Well, to say thank you, we'd like to, and to be a segue into the next little segment.
Of
Paul,
course, merch.
we'd like to have you model or at least take home our GPS
I'm not a very
DairyCAST
good-looking model.
T-shirt.
I'm sorry, King.
That's okay.
All we ask is that you wear it to the office for 2 weeks straight.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't
all right.
wash it.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Be my new lucky shirt. Is that what you're
absolutely.
See how much your business will grow with that T-shirt.
And with that in mind, any of our viewers out there that would like to have a T-shirt or a hat themselves can just email.
No, they gotta talk to Angel.
Angel's the
Angel's the
one.
merch
The merch
magician
angel, yes.
at Angel Horn
I think she
at
takes
GPS
care of
Dairy.
almost
Yes.
everything, doesn't
She does,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
How much is it again, King?
$25 for a T-shirt, $18 for a nice ball cap.
And if you want something else, we can probably arrange it.
We'll figure it
The
out.
price will be special.
Yes. Angel Horn at gpsdairy.com.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for being here.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you.
With Alltech's People Plus program, we offer training that is customized for your farm and built around the specific goals of your operation. Our training courses are bilingual, as well as being highly visual and hands-on, making it easier for your team to learn, engage, and remember. The goal of every session is consistent. Empower your people to move forward in their careers with confidence. At Alltech, we believe the people who work on your dairy aren't just employees. They're part of your culture, your team, and your success. Through People Plus, we work alongside you to ensure your team members are on the same page, moving in the same direction, and fully aware of how vital they are to the success of your business. These trainings are practical, farm-specific, and even fun, helping to build a stronger, more connected workforce. Because when your people are aligned, your dairy thrives. Alltech, working together for a planet of plenty.
Well, it's time for our fun segment.
That's right.
It's time for the
Moose
DairyCAST.
DairyCAST.
And today, Peggy's here to keep us honest.
What do you got today,
That's
Peggy?
right. That's my job. That's what I show up for, because this is our fun part of the show where there is a mystery guest who is backstage in the green room. It is someone that you know and they know you, but you don't know who they are right now. So you're going to get to ask them a few questions, and the winner that figures out who the mystery guest is first wins bragging rights and a fabulous prize.
A
the
weekend
prize?
at Lake Okoboji.
Oh, I thought it was one of those McDonald's ice cream coupons that you had in your pocket that expired last year, King.
That'll work too.
That'll work
Yes.
too. All right. Very good. Okay, well,
That weekend was gonna be like in January. During the off season.
Yeah,
one of the many beautiful seasons of Northwest
Yes.
Iowa.
in a free
Yeah.
tent.
The free tent.
Yeah.
All right, well, mystery guest, are you ready backstage?
I sure am.
All right, gentlemen, fire away.
All right.
This is different.
Let's see. Typical question. Do you work in dairy?
I do.
Let me get a little more specific. Do you work on a farm every day?
Not every day.
Well, you must be a nutritionist then.
I'm working on it.
You're working on it.
Wow. What kind of, you got some education?
Working on that as well.
Are you a consultant?
Hoping to one day.
Oh,
Okay.
so student
Student.
working on
Are you from Wisconsin?
From the Midwest, but no.
Minnesota.
No.
Man, what's left? Is there anything else? Are you still in school?
I am.
Are you an intern?
I am.
Our intern?
Maybe.
It's Kent Hamstra.
You win again. How come you win every time?
I know.
Who wrote these things?
Who wrote these scripts? I don't know.
Well, that's right. King's got it once again. And let's welcome to the stage our mystery guest. Come on out, Kent.
Come on out.
Come on out. All right. Good to see you.
I thought the voice sounded a little familiar. Tell our listeners a little bit about your internship, Kent. What you been doing?
Sure. I'm working alongside consultants on farm visits and also doing some feed audits and learning as much as I can about on-farm nutrition and management.
I hear you're having some early mornings.
I have the earliest one. Poor Caleb Birch. I had to get him up at like 1:30 in the morning and hit the road and started at 2:30.
Well, Caleb,
Wow.
Caleb needed some coffee after that one.
But then you came out here to the I-29 and
I did.
Piece of cake, right?
Yeah, got to sleep in until 6 in the morning.
6 in the morning.
Nice.
He was with Brady, of course.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. What are you studying? Where do you go to school?
Sure. I'm going into my senior year at Purdue University, studying animal sciences with a minor in data-driven agriculture.
There you go.
Data-driven agriculture. Wow.
Have you met Manuel?
Yeah, Manuel. Yeah,
I just did.
So, what's one thing that surprised you so far? What have you seen that surprised you out in the dairies?
Sure. It's just how much thought goes into even the smallest management recommendations. Of course, nutritionists, they're putting together rations and, trying to meet the precise needs of the cow while simultaneously meeting the goals of the producer. But even just how the ration goes from being a formulation on paper to actual feed in the bunk, there are a lot of decisions that have to be made along the way. So it's been cool to think about the things that I've never thought about myself.
Who's your favorite consultant, GPS consultant?
Oh, no. I plead the fifth.
All right. Just too many to choose, right?
Right. They're all my favorite.
Tell us a little bit more, Kent. About that. I just want to ask you a little bit more about that data thing. Is it surprising to you that how much manual entry there still is? In some of that data movement.
Yeah, certainly. So a lot of my data-driven agriculture classes address, data cleaning. We spend a lot of time just talking about, okay, how do we get a uniform data set, right? We're working with a bunch of different people, a bunch of different platforms. How do we efficiently trim that down so we can, run that data through
Right.
whatever Excel computer program you want to.
You're going to be part of our Leaders Forum in December 2 and 3. Of course, we'll be live there, and we'll have a live audience. You got any preview for us? What you're going to cover? What do you tell the group? What should they look forward to?
Sure. So GPS and NPI partnered with NEDAP, Livestock Management. And so I'm taking a look at the data that we get from their activity collars, and I'm comparing it with what I find from watching hours of bunk camera footage across 12 different sites in the upper Midwest. So just seeing if I can provide some more meaning to the data that we get back from these activity collars and hopefully reduce our reliance on bunk cameras as consultants.
Connecting the dots.
Correct.
Connecting the data
All right.
silos. Yeah,
Correct.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll look forward to having you speak at the Leaders Forum.
Of course.
And we'd like to send you home with a parting gift,
Sweet.
a nice GPS DairyCAST
Yeah.
T-shirt.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for everything you did this summer, and I think we're get as much value out of it as you did, hopefully. So
I'm looking forward to the data.
Yeah,
Looking forward to
sure.
seeing what you find. Great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being the intern for the summer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course. Thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
that's what we wanted to hear.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Kent. And I have a a feeling we may be able to look forward to hearing you back on a future GPS DairyCast.
That's what it sounds like.
All right, it's time for the viewer mailbag. This is a favorite section of ours.
Bring it on, Peggy. We got it.
What's in the
Bring it on.
mailbag this
All
week?
right. Well, I just reached into the mailbag. And before I pull out this first question for you, I got to say, one of the things I really appreciate about the mailbag is that it's, kind of anonymous, right? Like you don't know exactly who's asking the questions because it's just on a first name basis and by state. And that's why this first question that I have for you, I'm just really appreciative of the fact that we don't have this person's full name when they ask it. The question is this: how old was King when he lost all his hair? And it's submitted by a Rob from Wisconsin. That's with 2 B's. So glad this is unanimous.
Robaba.
A Rob with 2 B's.
Wisconsin.
It's a double B Rob.
Wait. I'm losing my hair?
Oh.
I didn't even realize that.
Sorry, King.
Oh,
Yeah, too bad.
62, I guess.
But if you look carefully, you know a Rob that's losing some hair.
We do know a Rob who's getting a little thin on top, don't
We
we?
do, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a 2 B Rob, is it? A double B Rob from Wisconsin?
Robaba?
Just look for the forehead. You'll find them.
Yep.
Oh,
Has to be.
Oh, he thought that was going to be easy.
Yeah.
well, let me take another dig back
just
into
don't
the
get
bag.
Yeah.
I've got a more serious question
Sure
for you.
you
In
do.
fact, I'm so glad that Kent stayed on board with you up at the table there because I think he'll be able to weigh on this question as well. From Julie from Ohio, who is wondering, what's the most common aha moment you see farmers have when implementing a new technology on the dairy?
Any new technology, an aha moment.
Aha moment.
I think I got one. A lot of guys have put activity monitors in, and I think that they're amazed that the activity monitors are more accurate in finding heat than they are. Or they're more accurate in finding sick cows than their old herds person was. So I think it's amazing that, the aha moment for a lot of producers is, wow, that technology actually works. It's
Yeah,
really
right.
effective, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. What about you, Ken?
Yeah, I would say just doing a bunch of feed audits this summer. I'm not bringing in any groundbreaking technology by any means, just
Right.
setting up a trail cam in the barn and watching bunks. But, I feel like a lot of producers just kind of assume that the whole, again, the process from, the ration being handed to the feeder to the feed that's lying in the bunk, they assume that whole process remains consistent, even though there are a bunch of things that can go wrong along the way, whether that would be, you have to replace a kicker plate in your mixer, or maybe you're not pushing up feed when you should be, or just cows are running out of feed every night, and that's not something that an owner or a manager necessarily knows. So it's really just seeing the value in, investing a little bit in maybe a feed audit every once in a while, and making sure that what you're assuming to be constant remains constant. So nothing groundbreaking, just dotting your I's and crossing your T's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you know a cow went to Purdue?
Produces the most milk out of them all, makes you the most money.
Oh, that was a good one. Or she stopped talking about data-driven grazing.
That's a good one.
You know what a cow's favorite TV show is?
What is it, King?
Grey's Anatomy.
I thought it was funny.
Thanks, Ken.
All right. Well, that wraps up the mailbag.
That's it for episode 3. Big thanks to Manuel Soares from the Milk Group and to Kent for showing up and being our Moostery guest, and to Alltech for their sponsorship of this DairyCast.
Don't forget to follow us on your favorite social media apps. Leave a review. Share with your dairy folks that you know. Don't forget, we'll be at the Leaders Forum this December. We'll be live and looking forward to seeing you in the audience.
Until then, we'll see you next time when we tackle another big topic to help you stay
Ahead of the herd.
And there they go. Paul and King taking off down the lane in that classic Ford Mustang, proving that you can talk data and still have a little style. Well, thanks for tuning in to Ahead of the Herd, where we turn numbers into knowledge and keep dairy decisions practical, profitable, and real. Don't miss our next episode where we'll tackle feed efficiency and profitability to help you stay one step ahead. Until next time, I'm Peggy Coffeen. Stay curious, stay connected, and as always, stay ahead of the herd.
At Alltech, partnership is the heart of everything we do because we know the best solutions come when we work side by side with dairy producers like you. That's the foundation of our Forage Plus program. Together, we evaluate forage quality from the field to the feed bunk, using on-farm analytical tools like advanced aerial inventory measurements and detailed mycotoxin testing. By combining the knowledge of your herd with our team's expertise, we can uncover key opportunities to optimize your forage and feed programs. Our goal is simple: to make every acre, every bunk, and every bite work harder for your cows and for your business. Because when your forage is maximized, your dairy is too. Alltech, working together for a planet of plenty.